Hey guys, I know these are coming fast and furious. This is lesson number 35, I believe, right now. And if you're seeing these coming to you once a day or every couple of days, don't despair. You're not supposed to be keeping up with these at all. Every one of these lessons should take you several days, if not a week, if not a couple of weeks, depending where you started. I'm hoping that no matter when you drop in here, even if it's years from now, you'll look at the playlist and go back as a brand new beginner to the first lesson. The point here hasn't been to give you a variety of lessons that are appropriate for relative beginner players. The point has been to create a course that from beginning to end leads you from never having played your guitar at all to becoming a proficient guitarist. At 34 or 35 lessons in, we're probably thinking about 7 or 8 months if you've been taking these once a week or so. That means you'd be well acquainted by now with your note reading and your chords. Even though the Hal Leonard book is just now getting us into our chords, I've been introducing them to you from day one. So playing the chords to this song would be something you should be proficient at by the time you get here with your note reading. Recognizing all these notes should be easy for you too at this point, although we are at a point where you just learned the D string, and that's the focus of these lessons in the book. The other thing that I'm doing with this right now, as you know, is treating these songs as pentatonic songs. The pentatonic scale is ancient. It goes back through all our cultures, and it's sort of an inherent one to all humans. So you'll notice that a lot of these pop and folk melodies focus around it. Here's the G Pentatonic Major Scale written out again. We learned all the notes of this natural position, but we've pared them down, removing the C's and F's to put us in G Pentatonic Major. I'm not going to play it again for you right now. Once again, if you're following these lessons, you've been practicing that quite a bit. On the tab there, I've written 0, 2, 0, 2, and 0 again. The D string is the 4th string. That's where my first 0 appears. So open O or 0, 0 frets is D, 2nd fret is the E note. Next string is the 3rd string, the same as in this picture. It's open, G, and then 2nd fret A, and then we have the open B. I didn't tab there, but I have in my picture this D up here as well. Once again, a lot of this guitar folk music and pop music centers around that G note on the 3rd string and comes up to it from below. The D is the 5th of the G and sets up the G note well. Our little warm-up again would be D's and E's, opens and 2's on the 4th string, G's and A's on the 3rd string, and B's and D's on the 2nd string. You would want to name the notes. Make sure you're thinking of their names as you play. D, E, G, A, B, D, D, B, A, G, E, D. Get physically comfortable in that area. Make sure you know the note names. Also make sure you've been reading these notes. As we come up to the song again, all of your points here, the treble clef circles around this 2nd line, the G note, so it fixes the G note on the 2nd line. I've given you the key signature of G again. If you remember your order of sharps, they're Father Charles goes down and ends battle, F, C, G, D, A, E, and B. When we have only one sharp, the F sharp, it's the leading tone in the key of G. Whenever you see your sharps in the key signature, the last one that they present to you is alphabetically one note before the key. For instance, if we had 3 sharps, Father Charles goes, that's F, C, and G. The last sharp is G sharp. It's the leading tone, the 7th note in the key of A. A is the note that comes right after G. So keep reviewing that, even though the book has not told us anything about key signatures yet, and they don't even present this in the song, for the simple reason there are no F's to worry about. Here I've got my D and E notes. I've indicated that the D is the 5th, bringing us up to the 1, the G note, as we've seen in other songs. We also notice we've got these 2 notes ahead of the first bar. I would then ask you, what's that called? You might not remember. I might ask you to tell me what counts they're on, and you might not remember. So I might ask you, where do they come from? Probably you remember they're borrowed from the last bar. So we look down there and we see that we have a note that's worth 2 counts. So beats 3 and 4 are missing. That's what these are. So we count 1, 2, start playing on 3 and 4 before the first full bar. If you've forgotten what they're called, I might indicate with my fingers how I would move them from the last bar up, or I could show you one of the little pictures. There we have our pickup truck, bringing those notes up to the top. So we have D, E, G, G. Those are half notes for 2 beats each. This curved line, I would ask you again, what is this? Hopefully you would remember. If you don't, I'd put a little knot in it and have you describe that. What have I drawn? Hopefully you can recognize from my bad drawing that it's a knot. I'd say, what do you do when you put a knot in a string? Hopefully you get the point that we're tying these notes. Usually people will know what they're doing, how that curved line affects their playing, but they may have forgotten the name. Once again, we use the pickup note to establish the rhythm of the song. We count 1, 2, we start playing on 3, 4, we hold this beat for 2, this beat for 2, it's tied to the next 1 and 2. We start again on 3, 4, play for 2 beats, play for 2, tied over, holding it for another 2 beats, playing on 3 and 4. So you'll notice that a rhythmic motif has been set up. Melodically, the song goes 1, 2, D, E, G, G, tie, 1, 2, B, A, G, B, tie, 1, 2, B, A, G. That G at the end of the line is a dotted half note. You can tell by looking that there's that note plus another beat. Out of the 4 beats per bar, that means that dotted half note must be worth 3 beats. You can get that by a process of logic, or you can just remember it. The dotted half note is 3 beats. You do want to know that. As we come down here, we get our half notes again. This open D string held for these 4 beats plus the next 2. You can feel this song resetting here. We're picking up again on a D, E, G, G, which is just like the beginning. This is actually the chorus of Will the Circle Be Unbroken. It's a classic hymn written back in the 1900s, around 1907, and then rewritten by the Carter family, used as a country song, and it's become a country gospel classic, also played by a lot of bluegrass bands. You hear great renditions of it. You can listen to the Nitty Gritty Dirt Band from the 1970s, with an all-star cast, including Johnny Cash doing it. As we've seen with our other pentatonic songs, the open 2 theme is really important here. Once again, I'd have you name these notes, make sure you're good at that. D, E, G, G, B, A, G, B. Then I'd ask you some questions about them. How do you play these? Open 2, open. Open 2, open, open. At the end of the line, open 2, open. Boy, there's a lot of B, A, Gs, don't you think? At the end, we play that A and come down. 2, O, 2, O. We've seen that, and we've warmed up with that 2, O, 2, O. This starts us over again. O, 2, O, O. At the end of these Gs, unlike the beginning, we don't come down, B, A, G. We climb up, B, D, D. So now we get that 3rd fret D. At the end of the line, G, A to this B, O, 2, O. B, G, A, O, O, 2, and then another B, A, G. Note reading is about recognizing every note, knowing them on their lines. Every good boy deserves fudge, face, the B on the belt buckle, the A that looks like an ant, D's and G's being mirror images of each other. All those little tricks helping you to recognize the note name. But it's also about sections, patterns, and repetition. I like to use the example, as you know, of flashing words to the student like house, cat, dog, showing them so fast there's no chance they could read them and sound them out. You just recognize those notes by the way they look. One example I like to use is the word Archaeopteryx, and I'll show them that. In the same amount of time, there's no chance, unless it's been a field of their study, that they're going to know that word by sight. They would have to read it and sound it out. When you play and practice your songs, you want to find parts where you're not reading and sounding them out after a while. I would go through this song and circle all those BAGs. We see one in the middle of this line, and at the end, then as we're rephrasing, we end the song with a BAG. Near the end, people start having a little bit of trouble because they get so good at BAGs, which I would circle and have you recognize that they're all over the song, but I'd also have you see where they aren't BAGs. This one gives people trouble. This is BGA. So we're doing the same 3 notes. We end with BAG. Prior to it, though, we play open B, open G, and A. People get it wrong and they'll stumble over it for some time. And when I ask them what's going on, they'll think, oh, I'm just so used to that other thing. That's right. So you want to learn by how things are similar and how they're different. This is a trick that you want to bring into all your music reading, not just learning this one song. So we have B, A, G at the end. We have another variation, B, G, A right before it. So we practice that B, G, A, B, G, A, B, G, A, then B, G, A, B, A, G. Try them both. As we step back, at the end of that line, you see I've marked with a blue line the G, A, B. So we get the same three notes in a reverse order. So we're coming up from G to A to B. We also know how to go backward. So we can practice that. G, A, B, B, A, G, G, B, G, A, B, B, A, G. Then insert this weird one, B, G, A. So we end that line, G, A, B, B, G, A, B, A, G. Three variations on the same little idea with those same three notes. Something that's very useful to pick out. I only know that because I've taught this song hundreds of times and I've seen the issue come up over and over again. Once again, we have our chords that we know, G, Cs, and D7s. That's the 1, 4, and 5 in G. Those are the primary chords in G, the three major chords. 1, 4, and 5 would be G, C, and D major. The 5 chord is the dominant chord. We'll slap a 7 on that, and that's the dominant 7. Once again, technically its name is D dominant 7. We just don't say dominant half the time because it's taken for granted. So D7 becomes the actual name of the D dominant 7. You're going to count to 4, and you start strumming Gs. 1, 2, 3, 4 bars of G. So 4 counts in 4 bars. It is 16 total, but you don't count to 16. You count to 4 times. Switch to the C. That's the 4 chord. You see I've marked with my Roman numeral 4 for 2 bars, 8 beats, but 4 and 4. Back to G to end the phrasing, starting with G to start the next half. This is an interesting little thing. I've told you about cadences. When that C leads us to a G to the close, that's called a Plagal Cadence. It's the church cadence. If I'm in G, and you hear a C chord at the end, that Plagal Cadence sounds like what we sing in gospel music as the Amen. Very often it's affixed to the very end of a song. You've actually ended on the G. You'd come around, say I played this D7 to G ending, and then they'll throw it on for the Amen. In this case, the 4 chord is bringing us to the 1 in the Plagal Cadence to wrap up the first half of the song. Here we have our perfect or authentic cadence with the D7, the 5 chord leading to the G. So let's play that together. I'll do the melody. I'll try to stay slow. Like any other guitarist, my tendency is to speed up though. If I tell you 1, 2, you wouldn't expect to come in on beat 3 and 4 unless we've talked it out a bit. So normally you'd hear 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, but I will just say the 1, 2 and we'll start 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, dotted half note, second line, whole note, 1, 2, 3, 4, tied 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, that feels like the beginning, but we go up now, D down to B, we climb up, we reverse things, and we end with our B, A, G theme. I'll play that with chords now in the background with you. Again, I'll try not to speed up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, C chord. 1, 2, 3, 4, G. There's your whole note. Phrasing sounds like it starts again. Goes high. Climbs to switch to a pick and pick those notes and insert the chords in the gaps. This song is a Carter family song. This will be a simplified version of Carter picking, where you'll hear the notes punctuated by the chords whenever we're not playing notes, and sometimes in place of some of the notes. 1, 2. Alright, leaving her at that. Catch you guys later. Bye.